Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Big H podcast. My name is Mike Heise, and today we have our guest is Mr. Tom Venniro. He is the director of the Hilton Parma Recreation Department that has extensive community outreach. And Tom, it's really glad to have you on the podcast.
I am glad to be here, Mike. Thank you so much for thinking of me and of us to be a part of this. This is exciting. We're looking forward to not only being a guest today, but promoting this to the community soon as well, too.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a school teacher, I get a lot of your literature comes through to hand it out to kids. I went on your website, and it is very widespreading from the preschool age all the way up to senior citizens. But before we get into that, I think people need to find out a little bit about you. I knew your predecessor very well, Steve Fowler. Uh, Rest in peace. And then I believe that's when you came in.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Um, tell the community, tell who our listeners, our watchers, a little bit about yourself, where you personally grew up, your education, and your present day family.
absolutely. Yeah. So I'm sure this will be the most boring part of the actual podcast, but sure. I'm a Gates kid, so I grew up not too far away in Gates. We went to Gates Chili. My brother and I grew up about 3 years apart with my parents, Patty and Jerry. And, my father, rest his soul, passed away a few years ago, but they raised us so well, and we had a great childhood. And ultimately, I would say I was about 16 years old, and I worked summer camp for Gates Rec. It's a very typical entry position that we see in our field here. And for the most part, those who do your summer camps, they hear about it from their friends. They hear it's a fun job. They get to hang out with people their age, sometimes a few years older, sometimes a few years younger, and really just have a great summer with kids playing all day and
Hmm.
and making some money.
Hmm.
So that's how it started for me. I had no idea that there was more to a recreation and parks department than summer camp. That's what I thought it was. So at 16, that's what I did. Went off to school at Geneseo, and I was a communication major there. So
Oh my gosh.
that
Stop you right there. That's where I went, communication major. Don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
no, no, no. Yeah, great school. I had great experiences there. No intention of getting back into parks and recreation. So after 2 years of doing the summer camp thing prior to going to school, I did everything in between recreation. Didn't realize that it was recreation at the time, more or less my interest. So Bills camps, worked for the PGA when they had the PGA Tour here, worked at Oak Hill, things like that, right? So all outdoorsy recreation type activities. And then after my junior year of college, I said, all of those jobs are fun, but none of them compared to working at summer camp. So I went
Hmm.
back and worked summer camp that summer. The following year, I came back after school, started working before and after school programs. A gentleman, Josh Doherty, took me under his wing, and he said, why don't you do some of this other stuff we have going? I'm like, wow, I had no idea that a local recreation department did all that.
Hmm.
Ultimately, that year, he ended up going to North Carolina to pursue the profession in a different state, recommended me for the full-time job. I ended up taking it, and everything just flew from there. So that's where I started, was growing up in the town of Gates, went to school there, went to Geneseo, ended up starting my career in the town of Gates. And my first mentors were Linda Fowler and Steve Fowler. So
Okay.
Linda Fowler she was the director in Gates.
Okay.
So very, very unique situation. But Steve and Linda were a husband and wife duo that were both parks and recreation directors in the area. So I was able to meet and get to know Steve, who obviously held this position for many years prior to actually coming here. And so they served as mentors of mine, taught me a lot. I ended up spending 5 years in Gates, moved over to the town of Chili, so the other half of my schooling, but different municipality. And I served there for a couple years as recreation supervisor and assistant recreation director. The director position opened up here, and I've been here for 10 years, and it's been the most wonderful experience that I could have ever imagined out of a career.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, communication major, Geneseo, lots of experience within recreation departments. To become a teacher, you got to get certified. Is there a certification that you have to get to be a rec director, or is it pretty much learn a lot on the job and just get a lot of that on the job experience?
So in this area, there's a few different ways you can go about it. I guess the short answer to that is there is no certification that's required. However, there is a Monroe County civil service requirement. So for those of you who don't know out there, any kind of Monroe County or municipal job in this county and in New York State, this is actually statewide, but it's branched off by county. There's a civil service aspect to it. Some of those jobs, more at the entry level, are non-competitive. What that means is you basically have a little bit of experience that might be required, but you don't have to take a test or place anywhere in a test. Some jobs are competitive, which means you have to take a actual test. You have to score within a certain range, we'll say the top three, and then from there you have to be reachable and desirable candidate for the agency that you go and work for. So it's actually it's a challenging process.
Hmm.
You really have to, the stars have to align to end up getting in a position like that with everything, whether it's just availability or opening of the job, and then of course passing that test. So that's basically the main requirement, and then of course a bunch of experience. There is a certification that's not required in this state. I do hold that, and it's made me a better professional.
On your website it says you are a CPRP. What do those call letters stand? What do those letters stand for?
That's exactly what I was just mentioning. That's a
All
certified
right.
Parks and Recreation professional. So CPRP.
I mean, I'm a big Parks and Recreation watcher. That's one of my sitcoms we watched over COVID. So you're basically the Hilton's Leslie Knope. So
Yeah, well,
what?
I've never seen the show. I'm totally kidding. I am totally kidding. Yeah, we did a podcast with a couple of my colleagues from across the country, and we asked a similar question about Parks and Rec, the show. And one of them said they'd never seen it. I was like, "Gosh, you shouldn't be allowed to work in this profession." So either way, I like to think of my position as a mixture of Leslie Knope and Ron Swanson. So it's
Oh,
somewhere in the middle there.
two of my favorite characters.
Oh
So,
yeah,
and yes,
absolutely.
I got our family through COVID. Um,
Yeah.
I know you thought maybe me asking you a little bit about your background might be the boring part of the show. Do you have any children, or what schools do they attend and whatnot?
Sure. So my wife and my wife's name is Melissa, and we've been married we're going on 7 years. I hope that's the right number, but shooting from the hip, I think we're going on 7 years.
Uh-huh.
We lived in Spencerport, then Brockport, and most recently I think it was 3 months ago, we moved to a house in Hilton finally. So 10 years working here, investing so much time into this community. I've fallen in love with it, and when the opportunity came, we pounced, especially in
Good.
this market. So we live here, and we have a very, very young family. We have a 3-year-old son named Jack and a 1-year-old daughter named Amelia. So life in the home is a new home, three
Sure.
months, and
Sure.
then a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. It can be crazy at times, but yeah, I love my family. We have I feel blessed, and we're additionally blessed to be growing up and getting them as a part of this community.
That's excellent. Hope to see him around in the days to come. Uh, no, you mentioned a little bit about Parks and Recreation. You have your Ron Swansons, you have your Tom Haverfords. I might be losing some of the audience on throwing out these names. I want to talk a little bit about some of the staff because you're the director, but you got several people underneath you. Um, I've got some names I wrote down, but I'm just going to give you the floor and you can speak about your staff and what they do.
Sure. Yeah. So from any agency I've been at, the biggest, or one of, if not the biggest, at point of emphasis for what we do is the team around here. So the team is our services and what we can provide for a community are only as good as our team. So when we're looking to fill these positions, and full-time positions, part-time as well, when they come and go, we're looking for passion and personality as much or more than experience,
Hmm.
or any of those kind of skills that you can train. So our team here is phenomenal. Just starting off with the rec side of things, our assistant director is Ryan Rockefeller. So many people who are listening to this probably know these names I'm going to be putting out there, but Ryan's been with us for about 8 years or so now, and he's done a lot. And currently, he oversees our event series in addition to some other programming. But our events, if you've been to our events, especially in the last 2 or 3 years since COVID, they have taken off in a whole new different direction. Very robust, something for just about everybody out there. But I will put this out there before I even go into more. If
Good.
anybody out there has any event or program ideas, we would love to entertain those. We just want to do what we can for you, for the community. So what is best? What's a best fit for this community? We want to know that. Speaking of which, again, doing a little aside, this was not the question that I was asked, but the town of Parma is currently going through a comprehensive plan update. So we're soliciting all types of feedback. Of course, I am biased, and I definitely want to see all of our parks and recreation amenities get all the love and the attention. But it is townwide too, so that process is going now, and we are currently soliciting survey responses from the community members. It's a very short 10-question survey just to get us started on that. You can find that on the HP Recreation website, the Town of Parma website, or just email us directly and we'll get you a copy of that. We have hard copy here.
My wife actually filled one out the other day, so we're on
Great.
it.
We're excited. It's a really great process, and we have a great opportunity to help shape the future of this community with your input. So anyway, going back to the team. So Ryan, again, high energy guy. If you've seen him or met him, you know he had run our youth sports for probably the last 7 or so years, and now just handing that off. Sherry Farrell has been with us for a very, very long time. Super passionate, enthusiastic, and she's local. She's lived here for a long time, and she's been with the department for over 20 years. Currently, and many people probably have known her from operating summer camp over the years and some of the youth sports camps that she works with the coaches. But her bread and butter and her current focus right now, or her primary focus, I should say, is our senior center, which has grown tremendously over the last year and a half. You know, we went from almost a halt during COVID with senior activities for many reasons. And coming back, we were not sure how that was going to work, but she has revitalized and revamped a lot of what we offer for our seniors. So many more offerings. We've seen so many people come in here. So anybody out there who's looking for something to do and you know they're in that community, please look us up. We've got plenty of opportunities for all ages. And then, of course, to round out our team here, Joe Battaglia, George Kimball, Sheila Steinorth, they round out the rec team, overseeing either summer camps or our recess camps before and after school and some other programs here and there. But that's kind of, again, the highlights. And Sheila's our gatekeeper, our administrative assistant, who is a wealth of knowledge, also been here for a very long time. If you call or come in, there's a good chance Sheila's the one you're going to be greeted with a very friendly voice and smile. And then on the park side of things, I have to just mention we have a great team there. Our foreman, Phil Smith, has been with us now for a while. He's actually was a former highway department employee. Now he's our park foreman. He has transformed the park in so many different areas. For example, for those of you who are baseball fans, you've probably seen that park and those baseball fields go through a lot of change for better. And you know, that's a lot of that can be attributed to Phil's passion for the park and making our amenities number one. Kyle McDonald is another one of our full-time staff, former school employee and highway employee. So we tend to attract some people to us. We're not trying to steal, but we feel we've got a great environment, and Kyle's great. He's done a lot. He's a super dedicated worker. And again, I can't mention this enough, but our park facility up on 259 Parmatown Park, if you're not familiar with it, try to get familiar with it. It has something for just about everybody. Most of the communities in our area, they pretty much have, say, 4, 5, 6, 7 smaller parks that are anywhere in the neighborhood of 5 to, say, 15, 20 acres. Well, our community is unique in that we have this park right in the center of the community, and it's about 200 acres. It's got just about everything you could want, and we're keeping going with that too. We have a dog park opening this fall, and we are looking to just continue to add amenities that we know that our community will enjoy and love for years to come.
Thank you for bringing up all those staff members that work with you. I want to get back to the town hall park. I live 300 yards from it. Could you go into a little bit more of what's on that 200 acres? Because it's well kept. Bathrooms are well kept. You know, it houses a lot. Tell us a little bit more about what that place houses.
Sure. Yeah, so Parmatown Park, I always tell people this who maybe aren't from the area, or even if they are, it's really the gem. It's a gem of this community and this side of the city, right? So like you go west of Rochester, and I challenge you to find a facility that's as well maintained and as really adequately holds the amount of amenities that can serve a whole
Exactly.
community, not only just the community here locally, but bringing in people from other communities.
Hmm.
So I do want to add one last thing to the last question. All of our part-time staff are also super crucial to our mission. And then again, our park staff, to add to that, we have a few because it's a seasonal type of thing. We're doing a lot of indoor projects for the town as well as snow removal during the winter. But when we get back into gear starting in April, we're bringing in our park attendants, which is usually a crew of about four, and then a few of our day park workers who are keeping the grass where it needs to be for our youth sports, lining fields, maintaining the ball fields. They come in and they do a ton of work during the summer months and the spring, summer, and fall. So I do want to mention that keeping up a facility that houses what we do takes a real community and a real team effort. So what you can find when you go to Parmatown Park, you're going to see the Parmatown Hall right on the front of the premise, and then scattered throughout, you'll see about 8 baseball fields. So that's a pretty large. In general,
Hmm.
if you were to go to a complex with 8 baseball
Hmm.
fields, that's a pretty large complex for baseball.
Hmm.
We have 8 soccer fields. There is a full-size football field, some multi-purpose areas, and then that kind of that I guess would round out our grass playing surfaces. Then you have a couple basketball courts, 4 tennis courts. We have a Gaga pit, 2 playgrounds, one of which is new as of a few years ago. We've named it Adventure Towers Playground. It is massive. It's
Hmm.
larger than life, and so many people come into this area and they're like, "Wow, this playground is truly something special." So,
Hmm.
got kids who like adventures and they like climbing. That's the place to be. We've got a skate park. We've got the dog park coming in, some trails out back, just over about a mile of trails out back, and there's some walking trails up front. 5 open air pavilions. One is a little smaller than the other, and one actually is going to be converted into a shade area for the dog park. So those are rentable. And so if anybody's looking for an open air pavilion for a party, always very popular during the summer, birthday parties and grad parties. There's a pond that's stocked with fish, so we do fishing derbies on there once a year, but people are fishing there every day
Hmm.
during the season when that's obviously not winter and you can go and fish in a pond. But I'm sure that I'm missing some things. There's volleyball. I don't have a screen
Volleyball.
to me, but the last thing I will mention about the park, in addition to just general green space, people come and walk their dogs and walk all over the park. I mean, it's a
Hmm.
beautiful place.
Hmm.
The last thing I do want to mention is our disc golf. So the Parmatown Park disc golf course has actually been around since I believe 2005, and so almost 18 years or so. There are still some people out there that don't know there's a disc golf course. It basically it would if you were to go to the very back of the park into the trail system, that's when you're going to start to see some of the disc golf baskets. The reason I wanted to highlight it today is because we talked about hidden gems in the disc golf world. This is one of the most popular disc golf
Okay.
courses in this area. And currently, starting actually yesterday, we are housing the Pro Disc Golf Tour and the National Disc Golf Association. I'm probably butchering their acronyms, but basically a national tournament that it's kind of like the PGA Tour.
Hmm.
They traveled from location and course to course on a weekly basis. The top 150 ranked disc golfers are the only ones that are allowed to come into this tournament. You have to qualify. The first year I was here about 10 years ago, this same tournament was here. So pretty neat in its own way that it's been here every 10 years. And you think
Hmm.
about PGA Tour has gone to Oak Hill a few times, right? That's a prestigious course. We've gotten the PGA here maybe 3 times or so in the last 10 or 12 years. So the fact that we've had two professional disc golf association programs and tournaments here in our backyard in a span of 10 years is impressive in itself. What is I think unknown to the community is how much disc golf has been just a rapidly growing sport over the years. And to put it in perspective, I remember going out to the tournament 10 years ago. It was my first year here, and I was very impressed because I talked to someone who had this Australian accent, and I'm like, tell me a little bit about it. Why are you here? And like, well, I'm part of this. Disc golf's my passion, and your course is awesome. I was gonna attempt the accent, but I decided not to. Um, so either way, I met a few people that year, 10 years ago, that were from different areas, but it was what it was. It was the disc golf tournament. Didn't seem to have too much fanfare. And I say that now because 10 years later, we had this meeting prepping for this tournament. If you go there now to the park, you're going to notice, just like a golf tournament, they've got a lot of their infrastructure, tents, barriers, things that they put around to spruce up the place because it's actually now become a spectator sport and it gets media coverage. So they will have the Disc Golf Network out there this week videotaping the course. People come in now. So in addition to the 150 or so disc golfers, now you're looking at what we look at as an amazing opportunity. Not only does this highlight our community, but now we're bringing in tourism, which will eventually or clearly feed into the local economy. So the park is special. It is a special place. That disc golf course is a part of it. We also hold probably 3 or 4 major sized tournaments there every year. So again, if you're looking at a facility that has 8 soccer fields or 8 baseball fields, you're looking at a facility that's capable of holding that. So the Hilton Heat local soccer group, Hilton Junior Cadets local baseball group, and even a couple outside soccer groups have tournaments at the park every year. Again, not only just bringing people into the park, which is a lovely place to be, but boosting the local economy too. So it truly is a real asset, not only to the people who live here, but in general.
Yeah, I mean, on the way home from school today, I did see the flags out there promoting the disc golf tournament and everything. I also have seen food trucks and bands. Talk a little bit about those offerings from your department.
Yeah, so I would say that COVID had clearly a lot of negative impact on people's lives, quality of lives. And you had mentioned, Mike, that there was a time there where streaming services were getting us by, right? We were waiting for the next streaming service or next show to be released, or maybe our favorite band was putting out a live stream from their home. All those types of things, which were really cool and really neat. However, they stopped us we were stopped, I guess. We were halted in doing routine type of recreational and stress relief activities. So what ultimately happened, we noticed, was our local parks, because everything happened at once. You had COVID, you had gas prices skyrocketing. So what we saw was our local parks, which I don't think necessarily were this destination prior to 2020. They became a destination. People wanted to go there because they could feel safe, be outdoors in a beautiful space, especially a space like Parma Park, which is pretty large. So what we ended up doing in 2020 was a drive-through series. And that drive-through series was drive-in and drive-through, both. The drive-through series where people would go, we would have a food truck and treat it like a drive-through restaurant. So, just kind of a change up from some of the restaurants we have here. And it literally, they stayed in their car, ordered, parked off to the side, and then maybe the truck delivered the food. And then there was a drive-through petting zoo, all types of unique programming, drive-in movies, drive-in concerts where you had to stay within your space with your car. And, now that basically we had an opportunity going into 2021 to say, do we want to change that? And of course we did. Of course we weren't going to make it a drive-through anymore, but ultimately what it did was we kept going with the series. So now going on 4 years, we have what we call Food Truck Wednesdays. We partner with the Friends of Hilton Parma Parks and Recreation. So it's a fundraiser for our friends group. And every Wednesday at the park, basically Memorial Day through Labor Day, we have a different food truck, which is super popular. I mean, you have your regulars who go in. It starts at 4:30 and the truck usually stays till 7:30. You have your regulars who get there 4:15, 4:30, get the food, eat in the park, or go home, whatever it is. My neighbor, one of them. And then we've augmented that with, every couple weeks or so, 3 weeks, we augment that and those are on Wednesdays. And every 3 weeks or so, we do a free summer concerts in the park. So it's a summer concert series that we hold in conjunction with the food trucks. We add another food truck, and we actually, over the last couple of years, added a beer truck. So it's called Classic Taps Mobile Bar. Really cool little feature. Now, I'm not condoning that people
I
go
got
out
you.
there and that, but it's a neat, I see parents out there on the playground because we hold the concerts and the food trucks out by the playground area in the front of the town hall off of 259. But it's kind of neat, you got parents that are out there with their kids and they can grab a drink or grab some food
Hmm.
while they're watching their kids on the
Hmm.
playground enjoy a concert. So that's something we've been doing now for the last 3 years. Food Truck Wednesdays and summer concerts. We have really maximized our efforts on our big summer event. So we've now did some rebranding over the years, but it's now called the Summer Smash. We have it basically in the middle of the summer. So as opposed to early or later, we have one that comes right around the end of July. And that features maybe this year, I think it was 20 food trucks, plenty of kids activities, family activities, community vendors, free giveaways, obviously featuring the park and the amenities that people can use during the event. And then we end that evening with fireworks, with a great fireworks show. And it's
Hmm.
gotten bigger and
Yep.
better every year. So it's that's kind of I would say our midsummer, really highlighting everything that we have to offer in this community. We want to bring everybody together, and that's called the Summer Smash. We typically will do that towards the end of July. And then at the end of the summer here, we're going to do a drive-in movie. Actually, it's more of a picnic style movie, but massive screen outside at the park.
Great.
We're going to have a couple food trucks. This year's movie is the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is a massive craze. So
Yeah.
we found that that's brought in a lot of people. We have a pre-registration. It's free, but we just want people to pre-register just so we know what to expect. So that's kind of part of what our event series it holds at the park, and that's in addition to all the various youth sports leagues, sports camps, you name it, and just general park users who are using the park on a regular basis. I mean, that place is super well used, and we couldn't be any happier to have a facility like that to be able to share with our community.
Well, I think what's impressive to me is you took a bad situation with COVID and you got community to get out of their houses, and it now has evolved into something that attracts people. And when we've gotten back to normal, it really has just expanded. You talked a little bit about some of the other offerings, and I encourage anyone to go on your web page. It's very extensive, um, from the youth to the very senior citizen, and a lot of offerings. My wife likes your line dancing. She takes advantage of it whenever she can. Talk a little bit about your preschool offerings and what you do for those age kids.
Sure. So preschool, we have a couple unique offerings, and I would say, to be completely honest, our bread and butter would be, I would say, three areas, and that's school age programming. So your and that would be, I would say, early school age, K through 7 ish. Then you've got your events, so our family events. In addition to what I mentioned about the summer, we have an event, at least one event every month during the non-summer months. Why? Because we all get into those non-summer or indoor
Hmm.
doldrums where we're
Hmm.
stuck. We want you to have a place to go. So I can talk about that in a minute, and then of course our senior programming has become very robust. Our preschool programming, we're trying to build that a little more because we know that's a huge. I mean, I personally now have preschoolers, so
Hmm.
I need to keep them busy for sure. I know what that's like now firsthand. So what we've had in the past that's been our most popular for that age group in the preschool is called Pee Wee Sports. So basically year round, except for the summer, we do take the summer off for this. We do a Pee Wee Sports series. They're 3 to 4 week classes for 3 to 5 year olds. The parents or whoever it is, an adult who comes with the children, are meant to be a part of that too. So it's not just for you to bring your preschooler to kind of hang out and learn, but it's to really promote that socialization between the family unit too, in a
Hmm.
sense. And so we have our coach who basically will go over and do some drills and teach some skills, and then break everybody up into groups and visit around with all the kids throughout the program, and bring them back in the middle at the end of the series after 4 or 3 weeks. We do our first quote unquote game, whatever the
Hmm.
sport is.
Hmm.
I encourage anybody with a 3 to 5 year old to register for that, and then you will just love watching the game that they play at the end.
I bet.
Watching, yeah. So that's one of our most popular for that age group. We do some little classes here or there. Like we have a program that just went off today called Little Chefs. So we partner with her name is Liz actually, and she's great. She does these programs that are she's actually called the Storybook Cook. So what she does are programs where she brings in a book and reads the book and then themes food and snacks around the book. So it's just kind of getting kids introduced to food, fun with food, really.
Mm-hmm.
And who doesn't love food, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's another one that we do. And what I do want to highlight is what we recently did at the community center. So speaking about being indoors when you can't get out anymore, you can't use playgrounds. So just this year I think we finished up in January or February of this year. So it's it's very new. And if anybody wants to see pictures or just take a tour, please reach out to me. We redid our toddler room. So we've always had this program called toddler or preschool playtime. And basically what it was a bunch of mats that we threw out. Kids would go play in the mats. And it was great. Nothing against it. But over time, we noticed that the equipment was getting old. It was getting beaten down. The program was losing a little bit of its luster. So we had a room upstairs that during COVID served us a major purpose because we had to split up a lot of our groups, right? You could only have 10 kids or 12 kids in a room together. So we had picked up another space. Now, coming out of COVID, we were able to put 30 children in a room again, a typical classroom. So we converted this other room into a fully renovated preschool play area. Brand new equipment, very colorful. You see the colors behind me. Everything kind of mirrors our logo and brand here, but it is a gorgeous room. A lot of fun. Toys that are really great for, cognitive learning for the kids, mats for climbing, a ball pit, little bikes to ride around in. So it is free, this program. So this is a free entry toddler time preschool play. It runs on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the mornings from 9 to 11. And then Mondays from 4 to 6. So if there was anybody out there who was looking for more of an after work, someone who might work an early shift and can't make that. So we have 1 p.m. option on Mondays, 4 to 6, and 2 a.m. options, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 to 11. So really great opportunity. It's free. Like I said, I have little ones. My kids love it. I promise you, I did not build it for them, but they do enjoy it.
If you build it, they will come.
That's right.
And one of my favorites when I was growing up was the recreation camps in the summertime. And again, you made a point. If parents work and stuff, you kind of have to have somewhere where the kids can go. So we could ride our bikes to, I think, Jonathan Underwood, Hazel Jenkins. Speak a little bit about your recreational camps that you have for, all age kids pretty much.
Yeah, so my focus when I got into this profession was out of school recreation, right? So I came in as with summer camp in Gates. Then when I started working full time in Gates, my primary responsibility was before and after school program, which was fairly new at the time. Before and after school programs being with municipalities and rec departments, that started to become more of a trend. So that's something we brought here over the last 10 years. And then similarly, recess camps. So when kids are out of school during the middle of the school year, not everybody's going on vacation. And so we have full week, full day camps that we augment with trips, field trips, or really fun activities or visitors, that kind of thing. So first and foremost, George Kimball from our office here is currently overseeing our recess programs. And then Joe Battaglia from our office is overseeing before and after school and summer camp. Both of those guys are doing great things. They're trying to make it fun and engaging. And that's a challenge, of course, in today's society when kids have a lot of electronics at their disposal. We are doing our best to try to limit that, not necessarily because it's bad, but because our goal here is to get people out and living healthy lives, getting them moving and socializing with each other.
Excellent.
So yeah, so that's what we have. Summer camp runs basically from right after the 4th of July through the end of last week. And then we have a smaller camp as most of our part-time staff are either going back into college or some other avenues that they're taking. I do want to highlight that we bring in a summer staff. We hope to retain as many as we can on a year-to-year basis, but we do bring in new ones every year. And they are extremely hard workers. It is a grinding 6 weeks. And so I want to thank them. I know we talked full-time staff earlier, but most of our summer staff has for the summer camp program has left us. for those who are still doing these other couple weeks, they're definitely troopers, right? So 8 weeks of kids is a challenge. But
Hmm.
yes, summer we have a great summer camp staff, and they receive a great training from Joe and all of us on this team here. So ours really, we try to accommodate everybody. In the summer, we have a typical day program that's an 8:30 to 3:30. But we also have before and after care options. So for those who might need to get into work earlier, we open, I think, as early as 7 or 7:30. And then for those who are working a little later, we have a program that goes until 5:30. So you can kind of mix and match those options. And then our recess camp and our before and after school programs, same thing. They morph around those work hours of the families out there who might need that care in a safe spot for their kids to have fun while they are either working or have other obligations.
Yeah, I mean, it's for those camp counselors, I guess, that's kind of like where I got my interest in working with students, and that led into a teaching career. So they're working like crazy probably, but it also gives them good experience down the road. Um, and also when I was growing up in Hilton, that's where we played baseball. That's where we learned to play basketball. Speak a little bit about your league offerings and maybe even some of the youth camps that you also offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So you bring up a good point, Mike. I think a long time ago, even when I used to work summer camp, it was really that structure of, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to bring out the wiffle ball bat and the ball, and that's where we're going to kind of get introduced to baseball. That's harder and harder these days, I feel.
Hmm.
So it's with that in mind, we do have specialized sports programs, or not just sports, anything that's you could think of that's specialized, art camps, this kind of thing, that really you can go in and say, okay, I want either my child wants exposure, or I would like to expose my child to these activities. So as far as our leagues, that typically will run year round. We offer recreational sports leagues for the next one coming up is flag football. So that starts in September. Easily one of the most popular ones we have. That is maybe my favorite. I try not to have favorites with everything, but some of us we do here and there. And part of the reason is because we've structured that program so that it's super fun. That all of our youth sports focus on fundamentals and fun. We rely on volunteer coaches. We're not enhancing the program so much with competition as we are with really the fundamentals, the equipment, and the supplies to get the kids introduced to the sport
Hmm.
and hopefully find a passion for it.
Hmm.
So, there are we do have our partner groups that have the competitive sports. I could talk about them in a minute, but our rec leagues are basically just that, just to introduce yourself and have some fun out there. And so the Flag Football League, we implemented something a while ago that I got from Chilai was every kid wants to be a quarterback, right? So what we do, the coaches, actually, the volunteer coaches are quarterbacks.
Okay.
And so that's one of the reasons it's one of the most fun. So if you're a big kid at heart and you have a child and you want to go and have some fun every Saturday in the fall, sign up for flag football and sign up to be a coach and sling the rock around the field. It's a great time. And so it's really fun. And another reason it's great flag football is we partnered with just from we have the opportunity to go to a lot of trainings and conferences, which I appreciate and support from our community and from our town board. One of those introduced us to what we've been learned to know is called NFL flag football. So NFL partners with flag football groups around the area, and what they end up doing is supplying us with these amazing reversible NFL jerseys. So it's a really cool, it's not just going out there, and don't get me wrong, backyard football is awesome, but there is this, this professional kind of feel to it where the
Hmm.
kids go out there, they put that jersey on, and they feel like they're out there on the Bills or whatever it is. And I don't think we're allowed to have, just for confusion purposes, 4 Bills in each division or 6 Bills. So we do have to have other teams every once in a while, which I do apologize for, because we get a lot of disappointed people when they can't be
Yeah.
on the Bills. So yeah, that runs into youth basketball, which we house out of the school district gymnasiums. School is a great partner of ours. Most of our indoor programs, I should say, not any, are either held out of the community center here or the school districts. So youth basketball follows, followed by youth floor hockey leagues. And then probably our largest rec sport is youth baseball and youth softball, which starts in May and goes through right around the 4th of July, depending on weather, which, you know how that is here.
Hmm.
So that's our youth sports offerings for leagues. Soccer is basically that one sport that we don't have a youth program, and that's because there's a recreation youth program and a competitive program. So here in Hilton, there's the Hilton Heat. A lot of people know them. That's the more travel competitive group. But there's also the Hilton Sparks. So the Hilton Sparks is the group that houses rec youth soccer. So if anybody's interested in that, we get calls all the time. We just forward them to them, another partner of ours. And then during the summer months and some sporadically during the school year, we probably offer anywhere from 50 to 60 sports camp sessions or enrichment camp sessions. So what we typically are doing is we're partnering with all the varsity and junior varsity coaches from any of the sports in Hilton and offering a camp around those. Or like I said before, there's an art camp, right? Or we've had music or theater camps before where, again, we're working with the teachers in the school district that run a camp through us, and those are always great. You've got some of the best, most well-respected people in our communities running those camps, and the best part about it is they're typically very affordable. If you were to
Absolutely.
go comparatively and try to find a privatized baseball camp with the U of R, and then compare that with our summer baseball camp that's run by varsity coach Kevin Wheelahan, you're going to see a major difference in the affordability.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And I think it's good because you make the offerings of the youth sports, like let's say, for example, basketball, and then those kids that maybe want to hone in on some skills, they can do a camp on top of that, and it just gets everybody involved. And I think that's one of the things that you want to do. Um, on your website, it talked about 554 programs. What is that?
554 was, and it was a program that we worked and partnered with the health department. So they're basically a sponsor of ours that have
Okay.
provided some funding in the past. So it's nothing that's like too I guess integrated with all the programs, but they've been
Okay.
a partner and a
All right.
sponsor of ours in the past.
All right. In your seniors, it was interesting. There's some senior citizen events and day trips. Talk a little bit about that. I know Sherry Farrell's heavily involved in that.
Yeah. So I mentioned before, so our senior program, we typically are looking at like 55, 65 plus. And, I've got, in-laws or my mom who are in that ballpark of 65. And I'm just going to tell you right now, they don't want to be called seniors. So just take that stigma out of your mind, right? It's not, it may be called a senior center. We've tried for years to figure out what do we call this, that it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
sound that way. And I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but it's being youngified every day. So we typically, when I first came here, had a couple lunches a week and a trip maybe every month and a half and some other things, right? Some senior shopping for people who needed some help getting transported to, say, a Walmart or a mall. And that's great. We still have those programs and they still serve a great part of the community. More recently, though, we've really implemented a lot of different and unique programs. So for what Mike just mentioned, the senior trip program, that is basically every month there's a trip. Those sell out in advance basically every time. They go to exotic locations, from either anywhere from an hour out to 2 or 3 hours out, right? So some of them typically will start at, they may start at 8 a.m. They may start at 9 and people get back at 7 or so, 6 o'clock. So they're full day trips, usually featuring a couple different shopping areas. So depending on where they are, let's say, Cuba cheese is one of them, right? So you might pass a place that's known for its cheese or its wine or whatever it may be. You either hit that on the way up or the way back, or a chocolate store. In between there, you're going to a destination where you might be doing a tour or hitting a show. So the trip coming up in September, they're going to see a chorus line. I'd have to look. I forget what the actual theater is, but that might be a big focus of it, right? So a trip that focuses on some kind of a show or a Broadway production. Generally in the middle, you're going to have a lunch at a reputable restaurant somewhere in the area of where the trip is, where the individuals have an option of, say, 3 to 4 menu items, a specialized menu for a group. And yeah, it's a good time. It's a great socialization opportunity, in addition to just kind of having some fun, getting out there, not worrying about driving, and letting us pretty much take you on a trip. that's something that has obviously been around, but has grown and been enhanced recently. More recently, some of the programs that we're offering that have been really popular, one we call Presenting with Pizza. So it's not too unlike what we're doing right now, other than Mike hasn't sent me a pizza yet. So other than that, it's we get someone who's a somewhat of a local celebrity or talent. I don't know if celebrity is the right word, or someone of local interest, who comes and speaks to our group, and it's followed by a pizza lunch. So some examples of who we've had in the recent past: Wendy Mills from Spectrum News, always a great discussion with her. We've had the let's see, a gentleman. His name is escaping me, but he specialized in shipwrecks on Lake Ontario. Very, very wildly popular. We've had the Monroe County Sheriff's Department come in, so they always have something interesting to talk about. And I think one of our largest was a local weather personality. Oh, my goodness, I'm blanking on the name. I shouldn't. That's terrible. But either way, local personalities in that sense. We've had the travel guy. I'm sure people have heard of that gentleman. So it's just a unique program that we hadn't been doing before, where we bring someone in before to give some talks and have a Q&A on some of the either what they do or some of the happenings in the area. We also had Blue Barn come.
Mhm.
And so Blue Barn, it relatively new. It was kind of funny. I came down there, and don't tell anybody about this, but I went down towards the end just to say hi, because I am familiar with the Blue Barn folks over there. And I did not realize this, but at 11:30 they were giving out cider samples to our people in the crowd. So everybody got a little bit of a special treat that day. Yeah. We've also increased, just looking at what's relevant for people. There was a series that we've started that was a tech series. So, getting involved or getting to know Google, figuring out, working your way through the iPad, those types of things. Stuff that maybe we take for granted, some of us, because maybe we're using that technology more, but they've been very popular. So those are just a few examples. And then you mentioned, Mike, line dancing, physical activity with our senior group, or or I should say our aging population, right? Like the
Young at heart.
Yes, the young at heart. We're really bolstering the physical activity. So we've got some yoga classes that are new, chair yoga, which is very popular, the line dancing. We're trying a lot, and we're getting really good response for it.
It sounds really, really good. And again, huge chunk of our population gets serviced by your group. Has there been any programs that I didn't bring to the forefront that you'd like to mention? I got a couple more quick questions for you, and then I'll let you get back to work.
Sure. Before I talk about any programs, I have to. It's Stacy Pension, so the name popped into my head. So I couldn't, if just in case Stacy and her agency are watching, and I said,
She's
"Gee, a local
also
weather personality."
you should also get her. She's a great figure skater. Like, she was Olympic,
Yeah,
real deal. So
yeah, I believe that was a big part of the conversation too. So yes, I couldn't. If I didn't remember that, I like I said, I couldn't live it down. But I would say what I'd less like to focus on for programming wise, and list while I'm with you here, is just what we have coming up event wise.
yes,
I do encourage you to come and check out hbrecreation.org. Our fall listing will come out sometime after Labor Day. So you're looking at about 3 weeks. So you're not going to see all of it online right now, but it will be out soon. So at least let me give you a little word of mouth about some of the things we have going on. And Make a Difference Day is something that we partner with the schools and all of the community groups around here. We have a great partnership with so many community groups around here. And so that is an event that will happen towards the end of October. And basically what we have close to 200 volunteers, whether it's school district or people who hear about the event and want to volunteer, and they go out in the community and they participate in a number of projects that are really meant to make our community and our surrounding areas a better place. So, we have recycling efforts on those days, food drives on those days, working with veterans or making things for veterans, showing appreciation for our veterans, going and visiting aging, senior living homes and other projects like that, cleanups, So there's a lot going on that day. It's a Saturday coming up towards the end of October. It's something that if you're interested in getting involved in, just reach out. But we work, and that could be from a perspective of just an individual who wants to volunteer and give back. Or if you have a community group out there who wants to sponsor a project and has never been a part of it, just reach out to me. So we are excited about that coming up. Our Halloween event is going to be something we really tailored this differently after COVID, kept it outside, and then most recently we moved it to Halloween Day. So that's a little unique in terms of organizations or communities who run Halloween events. And so I know a lot of people do them a week or two beforehand and all that, but we have paired it with Halloween Day. We do it right outside on the front lawn at the community center. So it's meant to augment your trick or treating. We've seen in recent years that houses participating in trick or treating are starting to get less and less.
Yep.
So you might have 10 years ago, 20 years ago gone around and every house was participating trick or treat, and that may not be the case anymore. We've seen that anyway, a trend there. So what we end up having is about 20-ish trunks that participate. So you got 20 more stops to hit. We'll have some inflatable or some kids activities there, some free giveaways, some foods, snacks. We've done an egg hunt in the past. We'll likely have a food truck, and we will have, just some other activities that are Halloween themed that are just meant to enhance your Halloween evening. So, make it more than you're going to a couple neighborhoods. Come out to the community center while you're doing your thing and enjoy the festivities. And then also just to highlight our big holiday event, our holiday celebration, that changed and took really a major different direction last year. So we're now doing a Hilton holiday celebration on Main Street. So for those of you who may or may not know, last Saturday, the car show, the Classic Wheels on Main Street show happened. And what happens is we close down Main Street for that. And that's they're a separate group. We participated in that event. But either way, they closed down Main Street and you get all these beautiful classic cars. We kind of used that idea and we said, geez, Hallmark and Main Street, and how can we make the holidays feel a little bit more community driven and bring everybody together in a special way? So last year was the first year we took our tree lighting and holiday event and moved it all on Main Street. So Main Street will close. I think it's December 9th this year. So let me double check that that's a Saturday. It is. So December 9th, it'll be on Main Street. We have, again, a bunch of activities for the families, food, vendors, obviously the businesses on Main Street. We had some dance recital performances last year. The library is open where Santa Claus will be in there for visits. We partner with a whole bunch of different community groups, and it's a really special time. It really made the holidays, kind of have that Hallmarky feel last year. So those are a couple that we have coming up on the horizon. We'll probably sprinkle a few more in as well, but definitely wanted to highlight those.
Well, Tom, I really appreciate this time to talk to you. I think you're at the heart of it, and you bring so much to the community that really enhances our community at large, tying in with the school, the churches, and everything else. I really appreciate you being on my podcast. I may not be able to give you a pizza, but how about an Aunt Cookie sub in Geneseo?
Oh, wow. That brings back memories. It's been a while. I'll take it.
Okay.
It's a deal.
Well, listen, this has been Mike Heise with Tom Venniro on the Big H Podcast. We'll see you real soon. Take care.
Thank you, Mike.